Hi, and welcome to my reflections on Domain 4, which is the domain looking at interprofessional and evidence-based practice. I set at the beginning of this domain the intention that I would be more purposeful in my reading, because I have found up until the present stage that I'm reading a lot of stuff and that I have really struggled to try and get on top of the workload. I've fallen behind. You can probably see that by the look of me, how I'm looking tired. And a lot of it has been my inability to know what goal to set, so that I haven't been able to read purposefully and strategically to try and get to the crux of my goals. One of the things I did this time was to meet with a study mentor, study buddy, and talk about the domain and the goals that I wanted to set. And I found that really useful, and it actually really fitted in very well with the concept of this domain of interprofessional practice and evidence-based practice, because it was all about that teaming aspect, working with other people and including them in. So right from the outset, that was something I tried to do in terms of trying to catch up after being sick, working with a buddy to set my goals and read strategically. I found in this domain, I was very pleased to have the opportunity to look at what other people did, and I felt that that was a really useful part of this domain. I know that there are other students alongside me doing the same studies, but doing it from different disciplines. So the opportunity to stop and consider the input of other disciplines, that multidisciplinary approach of working interprofessionally. To that end, I was able to work with the ministry, get a clearer understanding of some of the roles that they're doing. I've since met with the speech language therapists and some of the other people there, and finding out about their roles and sharing with them my role has meant that we are actually working again strategically and more effectively. So it was very useful to be able to have that opportunity to look at working with colleagues to produce best outcomes for our kids in our cases. I haven't as yet had a chance to really meet with some of the other people in the other disciplines across our postgrad whānau group, but that's one of the things that moving forward I'm going to try and make sure I do, probably in the time between the two semesters, because I've got to catch up urgently on Domain 5 and 6 before the end of May. So probably during June I'll look to try and make contact with some of the other people and just find out what they're doing, so that I can build my knowledge of the other professionals working in education and doing similar things. In terms of COPs, that was another really useful thing in terms of looking at communities of practice and how, again, we can support each other, and realising that in using a COPs, we're actually building practice, building capacity, because we're learning some of the things that we don't know. It's that you don't know what you don't know. So it was really useful to have a chance to examine a COPS and what that does, how it works, and the validation that it brings, that sitting around the table, having regular planned meetings for a planned specific purpose is a valid part of what we do and how we do our work to ensure that we are keeping abreast of new developments. And certainly in the COPS that I belong in, there have been big gains to my knowledge. And I guess one of the things that I've noticed is that you gain new knowledge and then it becomes institutionalized in you, so that you don't realize that actually you didn't know that once upon a time, you now know it. So the COPs are really good ways of actually building that capacity in us. And as I talk to new RTLB who've come in and they ask questions, and I think, oh, yeah, I can't assume that you know that, because last year I didn't know that stuff. So those learning with and from other people are really great. The other thing that I found in this domain was it was great looking at evidence-based practice, the confidence that that gave me to consider whether an intervention or something I was suggesting had validity or was just a whim. There was a reading by Liberty and Miller, an article on how to read evidence-based research papers, and that's been something that I'll go back to, because I just found that the points that it made on how to go through and read and unpack what was evidence-based really beneficial in giving me confidence to go and talk to people about what might work and what might be a valid intervention to try. It sort of elevates me from just being someone that's got a gut instinct to someone that's got some a raft of information and evidence to support me. I also found particularly useful Macfarlane's model of including pono, tika, and aroha, and I think the importance of including the voice of the whānau and the child was something that I hadn't really considered prior to looking at evidence base, but of course it means that it translates across context, it translates across cultures, so that it's not imposing one system that's come from a certain Western society. It's looking at kaupapa Māori. It's considering how will this intervention work in this place. So the inclusion of the evidence from the whānau, the inclusion of the voice of the whānau, has a huge impact on how effectively something's going to work or not work. So it was a really timely reminder that, yep, we need to make sure that we're bringing together all three elements: the aroha, the family, the pono, the researcher, or the practitioner, and the tika, the research itself. So it's been tremendously useful. It's been tremendously challenging trying to get through it all, and I'm really grateful to the people that I've worked with, and I've been able to build in that interprofessional dimension and that intercollegial dimension, drawing on what other people have suggested, and actually incorporate into a lot of my work that teaming aspect, and also in terms of goal setting, being able to set goals that actually are impacting on my practice, so that I can, what I'm doing in my practice, I'm able to bring into the study that we're doing, and vice versa. The study I'm doing, I'm able to look at it and take it into my practice, so it has a real life application. So it's been a great dimension, and yeah, I feel like I've really made some big shifts along the way, in terms of actually it's not just theoretical stuff that's removed, it is really being incorporated into how I work, and yeah, been great. So see you in the next round. Thanks very much. Bye.